Welcome back to the Mind Body Project. Thanks for taking a little time to join me today. I want to share a little something called Kaizen. Have you ever heard of Kaizen? It sounds kind of crazy, like hiya. It's Kaizen. Kaizen is a Japanese term meaning change for the better or continuous improvement. A lot of times, this philosophy, this Japanese term Kaizen, is regarding the process of continuous improvement or operations and involving all employees. And I saw this this process of change for the better, continuous improvement. I thought, Kaizen, how can that be applied to us? How can that be applied not necessarily to manufacturing in a manufacturing plant or employees, but how can we take Kaizen and apply it to ourselves? And there's three pillars to Kaizen, and we're going to talk about each pillar and how that applies to us as people. We're going to take it from outside of the manufacturing plant and processes and employees, and we're going to apply that to ourselves. And so there's three pillars of Kaizen. The first one is housekeeping. Housekeeping is the first pillar. And in the process of the Japanese manufacturing, it's the method of managing the workplace to continually improve, and it's called Gemba, but it's managing the workplace. So what is housekeeping, and what are we gonna? We don't have a workplace, but what is the workplace? If we're talking about us, the workplace is me. It's you. It's who we are. That's the workplace. And in this, the main concept of this pillar is that, when we're talking about housekeeping, is that one service or product is made valuable before we move on to the next stage. So this is the how we manage the workplace, how we manage ourselves. So what is the service or product? If we're talking about us, what is that service or product? We're talking about quit taking all those tasks that we do, that we multitask and we do all these things, and not being good at any of them. How many times do we do all these different things and we're okay at them, but we're not great at them? We don't hone in on one thing. I'm guilty of that. I want to do all these tasks, so I spread myself thin, and I do all of them. Not necessarily great at all of them, but I do them. I'm fair at them. But what if we quit taking on all these tasks and we focus on just one? We get really good at that. We move on to the next. This is the pillar of Kaizen. When it talks about housekeeping, the workplace, talking about Kaizen in the manufacturing, it needs to be clean. It needs to be neat. It needs to be efficient. So when we're talking about ourselves, how do we do that? We first have to be clean, neat, and efficient. That means we get rid of all those bunches of tasks that we have. Any waste that we need to get rid of. We have all kinds of waste, and housekeeping. When you clean your house, aren't you getting rid of things that are dirty, that don't really serve you anymore? Have in the refrigerator when you're housekeeping expired. Maybe there's things in the pantry that products that have expired you get rid of. You're keeping it neat and clean and efficient. So when you go into the refrigerator, anything you look in there, it's all in date. So you can grab anything, it's good to go. Go to the pantry, anything in there has a great expiration date. It's within date. You can grab, you can go. It's neat, it's clean, and it's efficient. You don't have to waste time and look at that's expired, this is not. You don't have to waste that time, so it's efficient. So when we talk about eliminating that waste as part of housekeeping, that's the next pillar of Kaizen, is elimination of waste. It's called muda, which is the Japanese term for waste. Hopefully I'm saying it right. It refers to any resource that is currently being used but it's not actually adding value. What kind of waste do we have in our life? What kind of things, resources are we using that's not really adding value. My hope is each week that when you tune into the Mind Body Project, that it's not a waste of your time, that you can take the things that I share and apply them to your life. They're to add value. Anything I share, whether it's on social media, whether it's a podcast, it is to add value to your life. I don't want to waste your time. My podcast used to be a little bit longer when it was just me sharing different lessons. And then I realized, you know what? People are in a hurry. I need to shorten those down. Say what I need to say, get in, get out. And so that has been my goal over the last number of months, number of shows, is to get it shorter. So I can eliminate that waste, eliminate maybe that extra stuff that isn't really needed, and really hone in on what is needed. How can I give you the most value in the shortest amount of time? I've kind of Kaizened my podcast because I want to eliminate that waste so I can add more value. It's really filler. So what maybe currently is going on in your life? What things are you doing that isn't really adding any value? What about social media? Are you just mindlessly scrolling, maybe to avoid doing some other things? They're not really, it's not hurting you, but it's just not adding any value. What about some friends or acquaintances that you hang around with? They're not necessarily hurting you, but they're not really adding any value. They're not really adding any joy. They're not really adding any connection. They're not really adding any thought-provoking conversation. They're not really adding any value to your life. Maybe they're just taking up your time. Maybe they just want to sit and drink a beer and watch TV, and you're not really enjoying that, and you keep thinking the whole time, man, I really need to be doing this, I need to be doing that, I really don't have time hanging out, and, it's not really adding any value. So the elimination of waste is getting rid of those things that don't add value. Maybe it's limiting your time on social media. I've had clients that are working on reducing the amount of time on social media and increasing their reading, because they've realized that the social media, they're just mindlessly scrolling, not really learning anything. And they're realizing that, hey, if I read, it's going to get my mind going. It's going to give my mind some exercise. I get off of, maybe it's the comparisons on social media. Maybe it's like, oh, let me see what's going on. It's not really serving me any purpose. Maybe it's getting in different situations around different people that are going to bring different things to your life, different things to your group that are going to start adding value. And again, remember, this pillar is all about eliminating waste. So if it's not serving you, it should be eliminated. It should be removed from the process. So that way only valuable services or product are being offered. That's what Kaizen is in the manufacturing process. And only valuable service and products are being offered to you. What do you want to offer yourself? So those things that aren't adding value to you should be gone. Maybe it's exercise. Maybe, and I'm not saying don't exercise. I'm saying maybe it's walking. I don't like walking. Every time I go for a walk, I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this. It takes so long. But man, I like running. They say walking sometimes better, blah, blah, blah. So you cut out walking and you just start running, because that to you is adding value to you. You feel that is adding value. With walking, you feel like, oh, it's taking so much time. I don't really enjoy it. My mind goes not into nothing. I don't get my heart up enough. Then you go to running. You eliminate that thing that you don't feel like adding value. But somebody else might go, man, walking is my thing. I've tried running. My knees hurt. My side hurts. I get side stitch. I got to put my hands over my head. I start hyperventilating. All these things. It's not adding value. So you eliminate that waste. Doesn't mean it's a bad thing. Walking's not bad. Running's not bad. Cycling's not bad. But if it's not adding value to you to get towards your goals, then you eliminate it. It's gone. You do something else that will get you closer to your goals. You want to streamline things to provide the maximum value and benefit for you and those around you. That's what it's doing. When we eliminate that waste, we're streamlining. Just like in a manufacturing process. When things are gotten rid of, that assembly line is streamlined to get the most value out of it and benefit the company as possible. The same thing is true with us. If we eliminate the waste, we streamline our life, we can get the maximum benefit out of it. I think it's easier probably to do that in a manufacturing process than it is in our life. I don't think we ever get a life that is fully streamlined. We can always get better, and we're going to have probably times in our life where we're really streamlined, and then other times we're like, whew, I'm not so streamlined at all. I got all kinds of waste I need to eliminate. And so we have to look at what waste can be eliminated. First, we have to do some housekeeping, see what's going on. What can we do to be neat, clean, and efficient? And then we go into the elimination of waste pillar. We start getting rid of that waste. And then the last one, the third pillar, is standardization. It's just the process of developing standards to which production is performed. I used to have this when I worked at McDonald's. I was a manager, and I had this thing called SOC, Standard Operation something. But it was the standardization of how do you flip a patty? How do you make a cheeseburger? How do you make a quarter pounder? How do you make a Big Mac? You follow these steps. This is the standard process. We had to be checked off, and we had to check off the employees. Could they follow the standard process to do the task? And so the same thing is true with us. That's the third pillar, standardization, if I can get the word out right. And really, it just involves producing products and services to preset specifications. So how does that look like for us? Have you ever heard the saying, excellence is a habit? What does that mean? Are you just excellent? If you see, we'll say sports figures, that great athletes, great quarterbacks, great basketball players, great baseball players, are they just excellent by happenstance? No. It's their habits. Their habits, doing those habits create excellence. Habits are achieved by a standard preset specification. It says I'm going to do this, 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 and this, and those are my checklist. If I want to be excellent, I have to do this, 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 and this. And chances are, if I wasn't excellent, my habits weren't in the right place. I wasn't doing something in my habits. So everybody has the opportunity to be excellent. Everybody does. But we have to get it in our preset specifications, our habits. We get those dialed in, and they'll move us to that excellent level. Standardization is intended to eliminate waste. That checklist that I had from McDonald's, the standard operating procedure for making a Big Mac or flipping a patty, it was meant to eliminate waste, eliminate time, eliminate things that didn't need to be done to focus in on what needed to be done. So it was a streamlined standardization to eliminate waste. So how does that look like for us? Maybe our standardization is our morning routine. By dialing in on a morning routine, again, it's a habit. We eliminate time wasted. I know if I get up at 6 o'clock, I have to be in the bathroom, get my teeth brushed by 6:05. I have to be dressed by 6:10. I have to be out the door by 6:15 to get to the gym by 6:25. I have 35 minutes to work out. I got to be leaving the gym by 7 to get home, shower, blah, 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 blah. If we have that morning routine, that helps eliminate the time wasted. I can't scroll on my phone for 10 minutes and still expect to get to the gym at 6:25. I'm going to be late. It's not going to happen. So by standardizing your life, you can eliminate those times of waste, that waste. We can plan our day. How many times do we not plan our day and go, I don't know where my day got away from me? So we plan our day, don't let your day plan you. When we get to the end of the day, we go, I don't know where my day went. Chances are pretty high that our day planned us. And standardization helps eliminate those. It eliminates because my standard is that I have a morning routine, and part of maybe that standardization of that morning routine is planning out my day. And then At the end of the day, part of my standardization is I reflect on my day. What went good, what went bad, what can I do better tomorrow? What are some things I didn't get done today that need to be on my to-do list first thing the next day? That's part of our standard, and that helps, again, eliminate waste, because what happens, I wake up the next morning, boom, I already know I already know my checklist that has to get done first thing after I get done my morning routine. Because of standardization, I know that from the day before because I've been following that, and that becomes my habit. And those habits produce excellence. Those habits produce change. Those habits produce a streamlined life. And, you know, this pillar of standardization always has to be reviewed regularly after it's implemented, because we have to verify, is it working correctly? You might get somebody else's, you know, is a standard operation for McDonald's on how to make those different hamburgers, or is it going to work at Wendy's? Is it going to work at Chick-fil-A? No, it's not. Parts of it maybe might, but I doubt it. So we would have to look, okay, I'm using this for McDonald's and I'm at Chick-fil-A, but it's not really working right. Huh. So I need to implement something a little different because it's not working. So we have to do that same thing with ourselves. We have to constantly review it and say, I implemented it. Now I need to verify if it's working correctly. If it's not, then I need to change my standard. I need to change my standardization. You know, and ultimately, a good standard should create the safest, easiest, and most efficient way to perform a job. And isn't that what we want? Don't we want to create the safest, easiest, most efficient way to streamline our life, to make ourselves better, to get what we want out of life, whether it's more enjoyment, more happiness, more fulfillment. If we want better relationships, we want a better job. We want better self-esteem, better self-confidence, better self-control. We have to look at our standards and say, are they creating the safest, easiest, and most efficient way to perform our life? And maybe if it's not, when you go back to the drawing board. So Kaizen can be taken from the manufacturing plant, the Japanese term, from manufacturing plants into our life. We can first look at housekeeping, pillar 1. Then we look at, after we do that, pillar 2, how do we eliminate waste? And then number 3, we start standardization. We start making those standards, those habits, put those habits into place that are gonna help us Kaizen our life. So I hope these pillars, you can find ways to implement them into your life, and you can have a Kaizen life. I'd love to connect with you and help you in that area. You go to my website, aarondegler.com, has all my info there. How to get connected, how to get hooked up on social media, on a daily text, on my blog, on my emails, and one of my groups. Just get connected, and I can help you Kaizen your life and make it the best life that you can, because that's the whole idea behind Kaizen. How can I be the most effective, efficient person there is? How can I have the most effective, efficient life that I want? So I'd like to help you do that. So I hope you take some of these principles from Kaizen and apply them to your life. Thank you for taking a little time to stop by and join me today. That's the time my wife came every night before I go to bed. It's bottom of the ninth, double A, out.